It's on.
Okay, hello, Mike. Okay, the tape is on. Okay. 7:30.
Okay, I'd like to call the special action meeting of June 11, 2016 to order. Have roll call, please.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Here.
Mrs. Frankel? Mr. Klein?
Here.
Mrs. Piella? Ms. Quackenbush? Here. Mr. Rosenberg?
Here.
Mr. Spindell? Mrs. Wallace? Here. Mr. Banter?
Here. I know Joan's on vacation. I think Elise is away too. I'm not sure, but I think she is. All right. New Jersey Open Public Meeting was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies in which their business, any action affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the Fair Law and Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting be published by having the date, time, and place thereof, distributed to the person on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education Administrative Office, sent to the Bergen Record and Community News. The announcement posting for the special action meeting along with the date, time, and place thereof was distributed on June 27, 2016. The items we discussed during the closed work session, special action meeting, and include personnel matters, student matters, legal matters, negotiations, general grievances, tactics and techniques utilized in protecting public safety and property. Results of these discussions will be made public as soon as possible. And I forgot the flag salute.
You went so fast.
I know. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could I have a motion for the approval of the minutes, closed session, Donaldson hearing June 16th, executive closed session June 16th, executive closed session part 2 June 16th, regular monthly meeting June 20, executive closed session June 20, executive closed session part 2 June 20, and closed session personnel June 21.
Second.
All in favor?
I get except for the Donaldson here, which I was mistake.
Wait, say that again.
Except the Donaldson here, I wasn't.
You also?
Any comments from the board?
I know Elise isn't here to bring it up because she's community relations chair, so this is going to take some leeway here. I know that our full-day kindergarten is opening on the 12th of September, and I don't know, because we're not going to be able to meet until then. I was hoping that we would talk about some way of having some type of ceremony, and I thought that we should have, I'm not saying we need the marching bands or anything like that, but as we've all stated many times, this is a big deal for us. So I thought maybe if it's possible, I know it's not for every board member, some can't take the day off or the morning off, but that we have some type of to-do. Maybe we can spread out board members and central office administrators around to all the schools before the kindergartners walk their first day. Maybe we walk in with them, have a clap in or something like that. I thought it would be a nice touch for us to be able to celebrate that on the first day. So I wanted to throw that out there.
Mark?
I was just wondering, why can't we have a community relations meeting during the summer? Come up with some suggestions, bring it to the board at the August meeting, and then follow through.
That would be, I was just wondering if that's cutting it close, because that's August 29th, that meeting, and then whatever we decide we want to put together, we're not giving, if the administration's involved, with the opening of a school year, we're not really giving them a lot of time or space to accomplish it.
But you're not accomplishing anything here, bringing
Well,
in.
there's Elise.
These
Why
are
did
just-
you weren't coming?
I was just jumping on the toes.
Jeff was just saying that about, because you weren't here, but you so we're speaking about the community relations and having some kind of a grand opening or a ribbon cutting ceremony for kindergarten on September 12th. And then Mark said, well, why don't we have a meeting and discuss it with community relations, and we discussed it on August 29th. And Jeff said, well, that meeting during the summer is fine, but August 29th might be a little close. I mean, it's about 2 weeks. It is 2 weeks. It will be 2 weeks. Go ahead.
Can I just suggest that that first day is we're going to need to have less going on first day than more. We have, that's gonna be a big day as far as busing goes. It's gonna be a lot to do on the very first day, and children showing up for the first day. I think teachers starting on the first day. I don't know.
The intention was to have it on the first day.
I thought that's what I understood.
It was, but
I
I'm
think it-
certainly,
So I think you're okay to plan further into the, into
Further.
September. I think it'd be a lot better, and then you have time.
Can I suggest that it go to the-
I didn't hear what you said.
Can I suggest it go to the committee and let
Yeah.
the committee do it?
Okay.
Instead of trying to go back to school. and
Okay.
something else.
Yeah, Mary?
Okay, so, the first day for kindergarten is not the same as the first day for all the other children,
No.
am I correct?
You are correct.
Okay. For something like this, I think a very small committee of several people should do the planning. I don't see where 9 board members have to discuss what the plan is. I think that, I like this idea, Jeff. I think it's very nice. But I think that it needs to be discussed in a small group and what's best and how, and with the superintendent and with a small group of what is the best way to do this. And as far as I'm concerned, I would go along with whatever that small group decides. I'm just not sure that it's going to be very efficient to have 9 board members trying to figure out what to do that day.
I was just in case we didn't have time the 29th, I thought it would be
All right, well,
time.
you guys will, or at least in committee will, get together on a date to meet for everybody, and then you can report back to us on the 29th.
Can we do that like in an email?
Yeah.
Send it out as a
Yeah.
memo or whatever.
Sure. Okay, any other board members have comments or questions? Okay. Agenda report. E1, attendance at conference convention workshop. E2, approval of summer workshop. E3, approval of Title I supplemental summer program in Memorial Middle School, summer 16. Approval of attendance at various Bergen County academies and Bergen County technical schools for the 15-16 school year. Approval of appointment of interim superintendent, 16-17 school year. Approval of resignation of certificated personnel, 15-16 school year. P3, approval of resignation of non-certificated personnel, 15-16. P4, approval of appointment of non-certificated hourly personnel, 16-17. P5, approval of appointment of certificated personnel, 16-17. P6, appointment of community school summer camp personnel, summer 16. P7, approval to amend appointment date of custodial personnel, 16-17. P8, approval of change in assignment of non-certificated personnel, 16-17. P9, approval of leave of absence without pay child rearing certificated personnel, 16-17. P10, approval of summer employment elementary school secretary, 16-17. P11, approval of summer employment elementary clerk aide, 16-17. SE1, approval of compensation extended school year, summer 16. SE2, approval of contractor services for the 16-17 school year, New Jersey Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired. SE3, approval to amend personnel and salary rates for the extended school year 2016. SE4, approval of summer 16 employment for child study team and special education personnel. SE5, acceptance of grant award and application submission for fiscal year 16-17. Approval of required related services for classified students 16-17. SE7, oh, yeah, okay, we're gonna hold SE7. It's gonna, it's gonna be, all right, we'll just go hold it. We have to discuss that in closed session. F1, bills payable payroll. F2, bills payable. F3, transfers June 16. F4, ratification of Fair Lawn Association of Educational Secretaries Memorandum Agreement. F5, ratification of Fair Lawn School Custodian Association Memorandum of Agreement. A motion for E1 to F5, holding SE7.
So moved.
NJEA is F4 and F5,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna, okay.
Oh, right, yeah, right. Mike?
Can we just, because we have a bunch of people here, just, do we have anything that we could read about Dr. Pileski,
Yes.
just so that,
Michael?
but I also meant to just say something to the public.
Oh,
Gene, I was just wondering if we could read something to the public.
yeah, we can. Ernest Pelestis?
Could I say something?
Sure, Mayor.
Oh, okay. So I would like to make a comment on F4 and F5, this is the ratification.
Well, I still have the floor, Mary, with,
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
thought you wanted to say something about the superintendent. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute, okay.
You know, I'm not hearing everything.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
That's all right.
All I wanted was, because we have like 10
Oh,
people.
yes, yes.
We have 10 members of the public, so I just want them to know who we were hiring as the assistant, as the interim
Oh, yes, I'm
superintendent.
sorry, excellent idea, yes, carry on, I'm sorry, I can't always hear everything. Okay.
Okay. Mr. Pelestis has been superintendent for over 20 years. He's been an interim superintendent in a number of districts, most recently in Livingston, in each district. Ogdensburg, he was interim superintendent principal. Ramapo Indian Hills Regional, interim superintendent. Morris Plains, interim superintendent and child study team director. And Mineville and Wharton, he was a shared superintendent. He's got a doctorate from Nova University. He's got a master's in urban education from Jersey City State College. He's got a master's in social science from William Patterson College. And the BA in history, that should make you happy, Mike, Jersey City State College. He's been to several workshops for principals and doctoral workshop in gifted education, certified teacher of social studies, English, supervisor, principal, administrator, and school business administrator. He's got numerous certifications. And he was a board secretary, he was a principal in Long Hill, he was a consultant in Jersey City. He's an approved mentor for supervisors, principals, and administrators. He's taught college for a couple of years at Walden University in Minneapolis and at Caldwell College. And he's written a number of grants. He's got all the affiliations with superintendents and principals, New Jersey Educators of Gifted and Talented, New Jersey Staff Development Council. He's worked with the Boy Scouts.
He was an Eagle Scout.
Yeah, you're right, he was.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
Yes, once, yeah, there's no ex-Eagle Scouts, there's no ex-Marines. And that's really about it. He's conducted workshops. We're very happy to have him. He's, we checked out his references thoroughly, and the best thing was we were told that, I think it was Livingston said they wish he wasn't an interim, they would have loved to keep him. It was 2 years we stopped. Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
Just so you guys know that the process in an interim is different than the process for the superintendent, the permanent superintendent search. Because the interim, what we get from New Jersey school boards, this list of former superintendents, former retired superintendents, retired principals that do this on an interim basis because they're retired. Okay, so they can do it up to 2 years in any one district. So it's much different because you're not vetting someone that's new. You're vetting someone that's done this before and that's been an interim before. This particular gentleman has been an interim in many places, and some places right around here. So it was very easy to vet him and to go. And he's very, when you meet him, you're going to see he's very well spoken. He's going to serve the district well. And these guys that have been interims before, so one of the biggest things I think that you get scared of with an interim is, are they going to be just a placeholder, or are they going to continue to move the district forward? And I think, my opinion is this guy is going to continue to move the district forward while preparing us for a new permanent superintendent. So it's kind of perfect, actually, because he'll be around as we get the new superintendent in. So.
I just wanted to make mention, although we can't give the sheets that we're looking at to you, because it is confidential, I just was looking at the amount of articles that was published either by him or about him, and there's over 60 articles where he's either written on something or so I just, if people want to know, there's a lot of articles in the newspaper, magazines, so 60 plus articles.
Any board members? Okay, any other board members about any other items? Mary, you want to talk about something?
Yeah. Well, I just concur with everything that Mike and Cindy said. He was an excellent choice. In terms of the ratification of the memoranda of agreement between the Custodial Association and the Secretarial Association, I want to thank them for speedily agreeing to this one-year contract. We will be opening negotiations quite early when I get back in September, but this was a way to move forward, and they waited patiently for a long time until the teachers settled, and they agreed to this one-year contract, and it really was a relief to all of us, and I really want to thank them for their cooperation.
Jeff?
I forgot to mention before, we had I know that some of y'all were interested in changing some of the things with Bergen County school boards and the meetings. So we did have an executive meeting. We do have a new Al.
A new Al? A new Al.
His name is, he was in Butler for 20 years, president of the board for 10. His name is Matt Lee. He was a publicist for a major science study group. What we decided on for meetings was we looked at all the months that have 5 weeks, and we're able to do days during the 5th week, because that's normally when school boards, no one has meetings during that final week. So it seemed, and everyone seemed in agreement that that would work best for their boards, and we could all meet then. We also did talk about a major topic from last time I know that concerned us, which was some of the rudeness at the meetings in the back of the room. We did discuss an idea of having a sergeant at arms now, which is unfortunate that needs to happen, but I think that it's no longer
What
going
did
to
you
be
mean by the rudeness?
the rudeness at the last meeting, that like when the girl was singing and everyone's like chattering, and it was just it was unbecoming, I think was the agreement, to say it nicely. We did talk about Maggiano's. I did speak, as I think we wanted it maybe a little more against the idea of at least all the meetings at Maggiano's. They are going to have some of them there still, but I implored them to change the menu, which they're going to do, so that's great. They're open for new ideas for topics. What's come up so far was goal of having less stress for students, having more breakout sessions, changing or not having the politicos next year, being that it's going to be a gubernatorial election and it'll be overly political. And a lot of us just were not comfortable with that, so that might be kibosh. They also want to start, and they're going to call the superintendent up about they want to have an 8th grade dialogue. What they're doing in other county meetings, they bring 8th graders from the districts and they have a dialogue. We have a Q&A with them to find out what's going on with students and those sorts of things. They do want Fairlawn's musical group back for another concert because they really like them. And they said that maybe that we could even do like a scene from our musical or something like that, if we wanted to change it up, so we could show off that way. We will have a major special education meeting for funding and for general knowledge of disabilities and things like that, and amongst other things. So that was kind of it. It was a long meeting.
Right now, Jeff, do you have anything that's on the agenda?
Oh,
You jumped ahead to new business.
when you said anything, I thought we were just like,
No, I should have been more clear, just,
I thought anything was like, okay, this is it.
yeah, we didn't vote yet, because like,
Well,
Okay.
So
when we
okay,
get to
okay,
that,
we'll-
when we get to that, I have a
I'll write down.
suggestion.
You want to write?
I
Okay.
know.
Elise.
I just want to say one thing, just in reference to the new interim superintendent. You know, picking a superintendent from a pool of people that possibly have never been superintendents before, and we're gonna have to go back and we're gonna have to do that. And I just wanted to say that this gentleman, because he's, you know, done it several times, was extremely polished, and I think that was the word that you were looking for, was that he was polished. And when we're looking again, you know, I know what happened, and you know, we wanted to hire somebody, and he that, you know, essentially rejected us and maybe took a job somewhere else or whatever. I think that when we look for the new one again, that might be something that, you know, I was impressed even by the other candidates that were interims, because they had like a certain sort of like
Yes.
polish to them that I just think that might, you know, might be something that differentiates what a, you know, hey, I've done all of this and I'd like to be a superintendent pool to, you know, I'm gonna do this again and again to ride out the rest of my career because I have this expertise. Because we're gonna have to do that again and find a new candidate, so.
And we're gonna discuss that in August.
Okay.
The August meeting after, you know, we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do. I just figured, let's go with climb this summer.
Yeah, no, I realize that, but.
No, I just,
because there's a lot
I
of
was gonna
people,
announce that later
You know,
anyway.
we looked at the pool of candidates and picked, you know, a candidate that we thought could be great, and then, you know, whatever happens, that's life, but, you know, this pool of candidates that were interim candidates, it's a completely different kind of pool, and we shouldn't forget that we're still looking for a very
Right.
polished candidate.
All right, any other board members about the agenda items? Members of the audience, anything on the agenda you would like to do? Dawn.
Dawn Evner, Fairmont High School. Two questions. Regarding P1, the Dr. Ernest Palisades. It says August 1st through June 30th, so he will be here for an entire year. Is that the plan at this point in time? Because I know at one
The
point it
contract
was.
will be 1 year or until we get a new superintendent. So we
Okay.
have him for a year. If we, you know, if we find somebody before then, he understands that his last day will be the day before the superintendent.
Okay, so it's possible that if you find somebody sooner, that it might not be a
Yes,
full year?
yes.
Okay. And then the other one, relative to SE3, amend the personnel to salary rates for the extended school year. I'm assuming, but I don't want to assume, so that's why I'm asking the question. This is to reflect the newly ratified fleet contract, the changes in that?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
Michelle Matthews, PTA Council. I just had two questions about Dr. Alestis, is that how you say it?
Alestis, yes.
I'm not familiar with all the schools that he's been in before. Has he been in a school that's as large as ours?
Livingston is bigger
Yes,
than
it's
ours.
bigger than us, that's what I thought. And does he have any special ed experience? I didn't know.
Yes, he's got,
You ran a job study.
Okay.
he was a special ed director as well as, yeah, Morris Plains, he was interim superintendent and child study team director, and there's something else he did in special ed. Somebody remember where that was?
I just read it too.
Yeah, I did too.
I know that he published something on inclusion also. I know there was something.
Right, but there was
about that.
something else. He did.
First thing I thought.
But he's got special education experience. I mean, Livingston's a big district, and they probably have a lot of special ed kids, so. There was something else, but I'll find it, and I'll let you know. Yes.
Hi, I'm Christine Weinstein. I'm the state treasurer for our school.
And with this year, this is a pretty historic year, of course, with our first full year kindergarten, there's going to be issues, there's going to be problems. Has this candidate ever experienced any type of year like we're going to come against? Has he had any experience in that, or are you concerned about that, or concerned about some issues coming up? And
Jeff, you wanna?
No, you,
It's okay, you can.
he did, I can't remember which district, but I remember he did bring full day kindergarten into a
That's right,
district
yeah.
from a half day. So he has actually done this transition before. And that is one of the things that kind of opened our eyes up.
Ogdensburg? Mine says Ogdensburg. Okay, so he has done. I thought so.
I have one more thing to say about the new kindergartners, which I think is a fantastic idea. And I think maybe you should reach out to, I'm a PTA person, so I don't know, reach out to the PTAs of the school to see how we can help. Because we're there, we can help, bring them in and do a hoorah, hoorah for them and such, and make them all feel really welcome.
They're all gonna be crying.
That's okay.
Very important for me.
Okay, any other members of the audience? Questions, comments? All right, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel?
Yes.
Wait.
Oh,
gotta abstain.
without,
F4 and F5.
right, 4 and 5.
F4 and F5.
F4 and F5, that's the memorandum of agreement.
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
With abstaining on F4 and F5, yes.
Ms. Buckley?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes, abstaining on F4 and F5.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes, staying on F4, F5.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Banton?
Yes. Okay.
Samantha.
Yes. Yes, Mary?
Could we explain to people why so many people had to abstain on 4 and 5?
Sure. The reason that several board members abstain on 4 or 5 is because they are members of the NJEA. Therefore, they have no input, they get no information, they have nothing to do with the negotiating on the contract. And pursuant to a recent rule, because they used to be able to vote on it, but no longer can they vote on that contract because they're current members of the NJEA. And in Mr. Spindell's case, it's because you still receive a benefit from a school district, the oldest school district to say it. So those people cannot vote on it. And Ms. Piella, the same thing, if she were here, she would not be able to vote on it because she has a son who's an employee in the district. So that's why they abstained, not because they didn't like the contract. They couldn't, under the rules. Okay. Now we get to new business, if there is any from any board members. Jeff jumped the gun, so if you have something else, we're glad to hear it.
No, I'm good.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, Mike, you wanted to say
Can I make
something?
a suggestion that the first meeting that they have this year, they talk about the fairness, they get someone in to talk about the governor's proposal for.
They who?
This.
New Jersey School Board.
Okay.
The school funding.
The school, the new school funding.
I think he was gonna talk about
This-
today.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Is that what they're going to fairness for?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna actually write that one out now.
Cindy?
Um,
Oh, yeah.
at one of the special ed committee meetings, after the meeting had adjourned, I had spoken with Mel, who is the president of Place, regarding a sign out in the front of the school, electronic sign out in the front of the school. They wanted to know what our thoughts were, and I asked her to please put, to do their homework, put some stuff together, present it to me as special ed chair, and then I would then present it to the special ed committee. And in talking with Jean and Joanne regarding this sign, it would replace the unelectronic sign in the front with an electronic one, which would stream the place meetings as well as the Board of Education
things that are coming up. We decided that it would have to be a Buildings and Grounds and Special Education Committee joint meeting with, of course, Joanne and maybe Mr. Senko to go over and discuss and see what's going to be with the sign. My thoughts about the sign is I think it would be obviously very beneficial to place, but it would also be beneficial to the board because we do post our public meetings up there, and maybe we'd be able to get a little bit, more streaming since it's electronic. You're not pulling down letters and Vanna Whiting so I just wanted to ask if we could get a special ed and a building and grounds meeting together to talk about the signage. And of course, I would invite Mel to be present.
Well, it'll be a public meeting, so
It'll be a
anybody.
public meeting, so anybody you can bring your whole constituency.
It'll be a public meeting because we'll have more than one, so.
I just needed guidance from Joanne as far as timing of the meeting, if we're gonna wait until, I think it's probably a good idea if we wait until September. That could be one of our first, when we put our meetings together for September. That's okay with you, Ron?
Yeah,
I know you're joint with special ed and
Yeah.
you're chair of buildings and grounds, and Mark is in special ed along with Joan. Who else is on buildings and grounds?
Me.
Oh, Mike, okay, all right. So we'll try to get a set meeting together, Mel, for September.
Right.
And try to move it forward. And if anybody from the board wants to comment on the sign, feel free. I have some information that Mel had sent me, that I could give to the board members.
Why don't you have somebody scan it and just email it to everybody?
Yeah, I can scan it at work.
Okay.
One of my favorite words is wow.
That's it.
Anybody questions or comments about Cindy's thing?
I've been on the chain.
Okay. Any other board members? Members of the audience, you can speak about anything you wish pertaining to board of education. Questions?
Mel Derbyshire, obviously. I just want to thank you guys for considering this new ambitious goal we've got going on right now. And just to let you know, our first meeting of the year is going to be in October. So I don't know if that goes. What?
October will be better.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make September happen because I really want this to happen. Thank you.
We should be thanking you, you should be thanking us.
Anybody else? No, all right. Have a motion to recess into closed session.
Second.
All in favor? We will be discussing some legal issues. We'll come out to vote on one thing. Why don't we take a 5-minute break, and then we'll have the closed session, and come back out and vote on one issue.
Jean, could I talk to you on non-speakerphone?
Yeah, let me,
I just have a question.
yeah, I'll call you on my cell phone. All right. I'm going to hang this one
You
up.
might have all the main numbers.
Okay, the main number, right. Wait, I think I had it. Wait a minute. I think I have your name.
They're gonna shoot down.
Mary, is it 207-224?